Hello, this is Pat O'Connor, and if your home or commercial property is incorrectly described by the appraisal district, how do you get them to fix the error? If they have overstated the size of your property or overstated its condition, it will cause you to be dramatically overtaxed. But we think of appraisal districts as faceless, vast bureaucracies with hundreds of people. So how can you possibly find the right person and work with them to fix the error? Well, first of all, you have to identify whether or not an error exists. So start with the size of the property. The size of the property is based on outside measurements of air-conditioned space. So for your home, it would be based on the outside dimensions. It would not include an open porch, and it would not include the garage area. The error that is most frequent is properties with a vaulted ceiling. The area of the vaulted ceiling is double counted because the appraisal district just measures the perimeter and multiplies times 2. Also check the year built. You can usually see on the toilet tank lid when the house was built. But sometimes they will take a house that was built in 1960 and they'll say, well, it's been remodeled, so it has an effective age of 1980. That makes a huge difference, especially if it hasn't really been remodeled. And sometimes all someone does is pull a permit for a hot water heater, and the appraisal district thinks it's a major remodel. Look at what they have as the condition of the property. If they have your property in excellent condition, but it's just truly an average condition for the area, that will also have a big impact on overstating the value. Look at the level of remodel. If they're showing your house has been remodeled and it hasn't, that will also overtax you and your property. And then finally, the building grade, which is the quality of construction. It's often referred to as A, B, C, or D, or sometimes it's a range of numbers, say from 10 to 30, with 10 being the lowest and 30 being the best. And compare the grade of your property with the grade of neighboring properties, and your property should have the same grade or lower, assuming the properties are homogeneous. If your property is nicer or less attractive, that will be a different case, but most homes are in homogeneous subdivisions, so make sure that your grade is not high compared to the grade of neighboring properties. So once you have identified any mistakes, call the appraisal district and ask for a field check. If you discover these mistakes while preparing for a hearing, ask the appraisal district at the beginning to suspend the hearing and do a field check to correct your record card or the description of your property, because it's impossible to have a hearing when the appraisal district's information is not correct and come up with a reasonable outcome. So what you're requesting is a field check either at the time of the hearing or before the hearing season. If you request a field check, generally the appraisal district will send an appraiser, and if there's a clear-cut error, such as an error in the size of the property, they will fix it with no hassle. If it's something that's more judgment-oriented, they may or may not. If they have your property as a grade B+, and all the other properties on the street are grade B, the appraiser may think, well, I don't know why the appraiser who put B+ did, but he must have had a reason, right? So I'm not going to change it from a B+ to a B. I don't want to get in trouble. So sometimes they're just uncomfortable changing something that's clearly wrong. So what do you do in that type of case? Another thing would be if they had an incorrect effective year built. Your house was built in 1960, but they're showing effective year built of 1980. Or they show your house is remodeled when you have original kitchens and bathrooms. So if you have done the field check and the appraisal district will not make reasonable changes, the next step is to contact the taxpayer liaison officer. That's the taxpayer liaison officer for the appraisal district. Call the appraisal district customer service or research the number online and write to this person and tell them what you've done so far and what you consider the error and they are required by Texas statute to report on the concern of the taxpayer monthly until the concern has been resolved one way or the other. In most cases, the taxpayer liaison officer will give the taxpayer the benefit of the doubt. They'll work with the people in the appraisal district because they don't want the taxpayer liaison officer having to go and tell the appraisal district board of directors, well, every other house on this block is a B, but this property owner is a B plus, and I went down the street and looked at it myself, and I tend to agree that it should be a B if all the others are, but they weren't willing to make that change in the appraisal department. No, they really don't want that. They want to keep the board of directors happy. So that will probably fix it. But let's say they don't fix it. The taxpayer liaison officer is unable to fix a legitimate problem. Well, there's one step left that almost always works, and it's simply this. Go and present your case to the appraisal district's board of directors. They generally meet monthly, and you would be amazed at the power of a polite and professional presentation to the board of directors explaining your case, why they have the incorrect year built, why they have the wrong grade. Make your case politely and professionally, and as you're walking out of the appraisal district's office, one of the appraisal district staff will be running behind you to catch up because they want to fix that error. They do not like having these issues surfaced in front of the board of directors. That's been my experience when clients go and make a presentation to the board of directors. The problems get fixed very quickly and almost every time. So number one, identify mistakes. Number two, request a field check. If that doesn't work, contact the taxpayer liaison officer. And if that still doesn't work, go and make a professional and polite case to the appraisal district's board of directors. That's how to get the appraisal district to fix errors in the description of your property. Thanks for watching.